Hey guys, give me a second to get everybody in and going. I've got you guys muted right now. So if you haven't, because I know you guys are more advanced than my normal webinar peeps, this is the Dungeon Conference Room, the one with all the good natural light in our office space goes really quickly and I didn't book it in time. So I apologize that my face is very dark, but like hopefully you're looking at the software, not my face. Okay, find that tool tray, open up your chat. I am going to do a demo of our new beta advanced features. To get them activated in your accounts, type into the chat bubble either now during the demo or afterward. And enable Spectora Advanced, have our tech support channel do it. Being just a beta user isn't enough for this one because there's some more advanced features, obviously, that we need to turn on for you. So if you would like Spectora Advanced turned on in your account, type into the chat bubble and we can enable it for you. Let me minimize my chat. Cool. I will go through and do the demo portion of it, and then I will open it up to questions at the end. Please be nice. This is essentially like a beta demo too. I've only done a couple demos of Spectora Advanced, and I'm just not as smooth at it as I am with the normal software. And so if there's a bit of stumbling and clicking around and stuff like that, I'm learning too. We're gonna learn this together. It's gonna be great. Okay, and then I'll do the demo. You can type into chat. I can see chats coming in, but I'm not going to read them because otherwise it messes with my flow. And so I will look at the chat at the end and try to address questions there. It just kind of makes more sense than jumping around all over the place. Okay, so type in the chat or do it afterward. Get Spectora Advanced enabled in your account. At this point in beta testing, we have a lot of the bugs worked out, but I always do want to confirm what you guys would have acknowledged when you joined the Facebook beta user group, that beta is bugs. There will be bugs, pretty much inevitably, because while we do a lot of QA testing ourselves, doing the actions in a particular order and things like that often have little kind of hiccups in them. And so having you guys help us beta test is phenomenal and we thank you. But at this point in beta, I would get really comfortable with Spectora Advanced only on mock inspections. It's something that it takes a little while to get used to, particularly when it comes to actions or the custom automated email tracks. And I wouldn't want you guys to encounter a bug with a real client until you guys are very comfortable with it and can kind of help me troubleshoot. Spectora Advanced is pretty awesome. Huge major shout out to our entire development and support team. Honestly, the entire team. We've had dozens of product development meetings about how to make this better, and hundreds and hundreds of development coding hours have gone into creating this. I always laugh on the tech support chat bubble about how some people just think it's like, here, insert one line of code. And Tyler's been working his buns off. In addition to day in and day out stuff and working on updating our mobile app and doing all these other things. So our entire development team has worked on this and they're really proud of it. And thank you for testing. Okay, now to the nitty gritty of it. Deal. All right, so when you get Spectora Advanced enabled, when you go to settings, so either your normal settings or you can use the drop-down menu of your name. We're gonna scroll down here and you'll see on business and scheduling tools, you'll now have this rocket ship's advanced tools in beta that you can click and open. The basics, I was playing with service limitations before we started. Okay, actions is going to be your customizable emails and texts. We also have customizable webhooks, but basically if you don't already know what a webhook is, don't worry about it. For the curious of you, it's essentially a data transfer between two APIs. So like if you were to have an integration with say like a Zapier account or a CRM software that required a webhook, you would be able to create an automated rule for a webhook to send specific data from a scheduling over to a CRM node. But basically, if you don't know what a webhook is, completely ignore that you can do webhooks in there. If you do know what a webhook is, then talk to me on the chat, or Mike or Tyler, about how to specifically set up what you need with your webhooks. So I'm not going to cover that in here because it's coding, a lot of coding. Okay, actions is going to be rules and texts, or emails and texts. Pay splits is going to be calculating and creating a payout report, and you can either do it per service for your entire company or per inspector for your company. And so you can say, I always want to give my employees 50% of the radon, or you can say, hey, this primary inspector should get 75% of the fee, but this new guy only 25 because he's not doing it on his own. And I'm going to go through each of these. This is just the overview portion of it. Service limitations are if you have several inspectors on your staff. Some of them can do certain services and some of them can do others, and how that correlates to online scheduling. So if I can do both residential and radon and mold testing, but my co-inspector can only do residential, when you're using the online scheduler and there's internal alerts as well, you're going to be able to see availability in the schedulers based off of what services you choose. And we'll kind of get into that here in a little bit. Enabling service areas are particularly useful for multi-inspector companies who work over a large distance. We have a couple inspection companies here in Colorado where some inspectors work up in the mountains and do a lot of, the ski cabins, but they also have inspectors who are down here in Denver or down in Colorado Springs. And so they would be able to use the service areas limitations for each inspector so that they could know whether or not that particular inspector is available for that time or date based off of an address. Inspection events are going to be things like radon pickup or drop off. You can add secondary, tertiary, all these other events to an inspection, and they get put in your calendar and they're connected. And then advanced metrics is going to be an expanded business side of the current metrics section where you can essentially pull any piece of data. There are so many options in there. Tyler did an amazing job to be able to figure out exactly the metric you would like. And you can choose to have lines and pie charts and all of these crazy things. As I'm going to say over and over and over again, this isn't beta. You're going to encounter problems or have questions. Please jump on the tech support chat bubble about us. Alexis and I are prepped for most questions, but Mike and Tyler and Kevin are also ready to jump on and try to kind of troubleshoot stuff with us. Okay, I think the way I'm going to start this is just top down because most people are most excited about actions. Okay, so you would enable actions. Oh, I guess the final thing before I start actually showing things is at the bottom of this, I always call them cards, collapsible cards. You have all of your support articles, and then this more info about advanced is kind of the basic layout page. Mike also did a couple of different Facebook posts about it, including pricing and things like that. And I'm going to be 100% honest, hand to God, we haven't made decisions about pricing yet, whether or not it's going to be per report or an extra flat fee. And we would absolutely love your guys' feedback about that. There's a huge investment on our end and a huge amount of overhead cost that comes with these Spectora Advanced features. And so I really liked the way that Mike put it, where you guys offer I'm just gonna call them other services. Other services like mold and radon, and you guys would charge for those because you have the overheads of lab fees or equipment or education that you have to do. We have a lot of overhead with these extra features. So it is going to come at an extra cost, but we don't know what that's going to look like if we're going to put this into several different, bronze, silver, gold of some people only want the actions. Well, the actions are also tied to contact tagging and several of the other things and service limitations. So should those be bundled together? Anyway, rant kind of over. Go check out Mike's article, kind of explaining where we're at, but we are open and would love feedback about what you think would be fair for pricing. Okay, but check out the support articles. I would pay a lot of attention to them. We put a lot of time into those, and they're going to help you and guide you. This demo is kind of meant to be an overview. All right, I got to get going on the actual cool stuff at this point. All right, so we enabled actions over here. As I said, actions are rules that you can create custom tracks for emails, texts, and webhooks. When you enable actions, it's going to give you another, of course, it's making me look bad. Never mind, actually, we changed that this morning. That's the other thing about beta. We change stuff a lot. Anyway, you will have an actions button in the drop-down menu where you can select that instead of automations. So you're not gonna have to go to settings and advanced tools forever. Okay, so we're gonna click on actions and open it up. Now, currently the way the program is set up, you're going to have to choose between your current automations in Spectora or using advanced. One is on or the other is on, and they toggle on or off. And I'll show you in a minute how to enable actions for mock inspections. Or if you're feeling ballsy, enable them for a real one. Okay, so one of the first things that I would recommend for actions is if you're currently using our Spectora automation, you're not over on ISN or Next Inspector, whatever they're doing. If you're using our current automations, we have this import button over here in the corner, and you can select which of your current emails you would like to be transferred from automations into actions so that you can still preserve everything you currently have and then just add on extra things. And you can choose to do that here. Word to the wise, they all start off as checked if they are on in your automations area. So if you're going through here, you don't have to re-import every time, like one for inspector, one for clients. All of them that are on in your automations are gonna default to being checked in this importer. So you would only deactivate one of these things if you would not like to use it in automations anymore. Okay, and then you hit import. I already did when I was testing it out before. So you can see, let me collapse. Okay, these are all of my emails to clients right now. Actually, you know what? Let's run the whole import again, and then you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I just imported all of my current stuff. Inspector, client, agent, listing agent. Okay. If I click this top tab here, it's going to collapse the different actions into what we are calling groups. And groups are just an easy way to keep track of things. You can rename them as you like. You can create new groupings based off of things like contact tagging. That's something I didn't really cover in my overview, but part of Spectora Advanced is being able to label agents, new agent, VIP agent, and creating custom automated tracks for those particular tags. Okay, so you've got the groupings. You can either choose to add a new action group or add to your imported actions. For this case, I'm going to open up, let's say, agents, and just click this white area. You can edit the name of the group by clicking the title of it. We have this little arrow to open and close it, but you can just click the entire title there. Okay, so we're now in my agents area. You can toggle these tracks on or off, and you can copy or delete them as you like. The copy is a great feature for if you would like the same track, is what we're calling these, the same track to run for your client, your agent, your listing agent, but you'd like to change one or two things in each without having to redo the body of each email. And so you can copy entire actions and then go in and edit things later. One of my kind of demands in our product development meetings was to make these as sentence-like as possible so that they were really easy to understand. So if you look at our first track here, this email will trigger at the time that the inspection is confirmed on all of the inspections to send an email to the listing agent saying this. So when you're creating these tracks, and I'll show you how to set up a track here in a second, I personally thought it was easier if I thought about creating a sentence. Okay, so we're gonna scroll down here and we're gonna create a new track or an action. An action is what we're also calling them. This is one track or an action. Add an action. Now, a highly demanded feature that we had with actions was people not really caring whenever an email was sent out. Sending an email at 2 a.m. is not a big deal. But if you were up late and publishing and wanted to send a text message to your client, a lot of people didn't like sending them at 2 a.m. as was in the current system. So for emails and text messages for each different track, you can choose to only send during certain hours or to not send on the weekends. If you choose to enable either of those, you can create time ranges of it's fine to send between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. If you trigger something at 6 p.m., it'll resend again at the next 9 a.m. I didn't really explain that well, but it's the next opportunity that is within your time range is when it will be scheduled to go out. For this first one, so we separated them into 4 different sections. This first one is choosing what is going to trigger it or when it's going to trigger. And in this list, we have pretty much every conceivable trigger within Spectora that could possibly, trigger an automation. For example, it's going to default to inspection is scheduled. I would like to clarify that that's either you completely scheduling something and hitting save, or confirming an inspection request or something like that. It's the actual done. You can also have one for inspection requested. When it's published, another big in-demand track was let me know when both things are completed. The client has both paid and signed the agreement, since I know many inspectors won't show up on site or drive there until both of those things happen. So you would get the all clear to go. You can, fee added, agreement signs, kind of choose through all of those. Yeah, a lot of stuff in there. There's also this when over here. You can choose at the time of, that's when, or after. There's a couple that could be before, like at the time of the inspection. And I know a lot of inspectors wanted to use, there's a before option for that. Like 20 minutes before the start of the inspection, send my boss a text message saying I'm there or something like that. I don't know. That's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying with there. There's before, when, and after. There you go. All right. So we would choose when to trigger something. So in this case, I'm just going to stick with when an inspection is scheduled. You can either hit 2. No, you can't. We took that away. Never mind. That's for the existing ones. All right. We're going to choose an event. Then we're going to hit continue. These rules are for separating out subcategories. If you do not add an additional rule, the action will apply to all inspections. These rules are going to be things like they either have or don't have an agreement signed, a service attached to them, if it's been paid. So you could set up a track that if an inspection has not been paid, 1 hour before the inspection starts, trigger a text message saying your inspector is not going to come. It could be something like you have a third-party termites company that you outsource to, and whenever a service is, or whenever an inspection is scheduled that has a service, that's the one we'll do here, and then it's going to populate from your services area over here. It has a service called radon, then this will trigger. And so you can kind of customize those third parties and what's going to actually cause them to fire in there with subset rules. And you can have multiple rules if you would like. These are also great for upsell options. Like if an inspection does not have a radon service, send an email a day before asking if they want to add it and giving statistics about why they should add it. Okay, so then we're going to hit continue, and we're going to choose to either send an email, send a text, or call a webhook. In this case, we're going to say send an email, and then we're going to hit continue. Now, this is where you're going to create the actual thing that gets sent out. Ooh, my internet just jumped. Sorry, when I'm screen sharing, the internet decides to play along or doesn't on a pretty daily kind of flip-flop. And so I was hoping for a good one today. So if I ever freeze, either jump on the chat or text for Toppable and somebody will let me know. Okay, so this is the body of the email or the text message that you're going to get. In the from area, it's going to default to whatever is currently your point of contact in email settings. So you go settings, email settings, point of contact. And currently my company, my test company, the email is set to come from the inspector. You could also choose for it to come from the company on there and switch it up if it's like one particular track that you want coming from the other one. There you go. Okay. So then this to field, and same with CC or BCC, you can either use, there's a drop-down menu under each of those, or you can type. So if you're going to do a third-party email, you would type in termite guy at termite.com. All right, this internet needs to come back up and running. Okay, there we go. The coworkers who work in our office space are watching the World Cup right now, and the projector screen is like right on the other side of this conference thing, and apparently somebody, or conference whiteboard, and apparently somebody just scored a goal or something because they just yelled and it scared me. Okay, cool, neither here nor there. Okay, so you can either type that and then hit enter, and now it's going to send a third-party email, or you can choose to send it to the inspector assigned, or the buyer, the agent, the selling agent, company admin. Okay, just in case that's somebody telling me okay, the joy of dial-up, I know. Okay, people just making jokes about internet. I was a little bit worried about the internet going out there. Okay, I'm back to folks thing. Okay, so you can choose the drop-down menu of who it's going to go to, and that will populate like our previous kind of placeholders did, where it will pull the client from this inspection, the buyer from this inspection, or you can choose to third party over here. Same with CC or BCC. If you have your email settings currently set up that you get BCC'd on all emails, I believe it should populate in here automatically. I just don't have that set up for this account yet. Okay, so we're gonna do testy, make test face. That's our subject line. And then as we scroll down, this is where you would create the body of the email. And then here are all of your Placeholders, we added some placeholders like year built, foundation, square feet into this list based off of demands and the feature request list. We actually do pay attention to it. And so if you see any on here, I know agreement link is something that we needed to add to this list. But if you have a placeholder that could be gleaned from scheduling information and you don't see it in here, let me know. You can also search the placeholder list right here. Create the body of email. Ooh. You can do all the normal stuff with changing the size of it, changing the color, adding a hyperlink, embedding a video. I am seeing an industry trend of embedding videos, particularly a personal how to read your report by me, the inspector, into the report ready emails. And I think that's pretty cool. Or the repair request builder demo that gets embedded into a lot of videos. Okay, and then we're gonna hit save. And we have now created a track that when an inspection is scheduled that has the service radon. I'm gonna email termite guy, that didn't match up or whatever, from the inspector assigned to the inspection with the subjects, body, all that stuff. That line of code right there is because my internet's slow, so it's not translating the display code correctly. Not a bug, just slow internet. Cool. To edit this afterward, you're not stuck where you've got to delete it and create a new action. You can just click it and it'll open up again. And this is where you can kind of jump around now that it's been created and say, oop, I actually want this to be a text message instead and switch it out. And so you can choose to do that in there. You can also choose, you can click to drag to rearrange. That didn't work. It's on, it works. It's my internet. You can click to drag to rearrange with these guys in the groupings, add new action groups. Most of the time I see it based off of the person it's going to be sent to, but occasionally I see all of the emails together and all the text messages together. It just kind of keeps it from being a crazy long list. Okay, so that's the basics of that. So I'm gonna break my own rules and I'm going to quickly look at the chat and see which actions on here, action questions I have before I move on and show you how to enable it and then keep going. Okay, really the only question on here is, so you can't use automations with actions, it's one or the other. Correct. Actions are the new stuff, automations is the old stuff, but you would use that importer to move all of your automations over to actions. So right now it's one's on, the other's off. Okay. The other question that my buddy over here just entered is about events, and I will get to there. Then somebody else just asked, when I enter a phone number to send a text, it doesn't like any of the formats. That could be a beta bug. Type it into the TechSport chat bubble. I can't really do anything about it right now, love. And so type that in and we'll test it out. I had believed we put in the code to normalize all phone numbers. I would maybe check if you're doing an email track on accident instead of a text track, because then it wouldn't be a valid email if it's on all numbers. Anyway, okay. This is why I don't look at the chat. Ugh, okay, all right, I'm gonna close it. Sweet, all right, so now to enable actions to run instead of automations per inspection. So I guess that's a better answer to your question. It's either on or off on a per inspection basis. You choose to enable actions per inspection when you're scheduling. So if you go to dashboard and you open it up and we go to schedule a new inspection, slowly. When you schedule in here, all the way at the bottom, you'll now see that you have this use actions on this inspections. Otherwise, we'll use your usual automation settings. So currently, if you do not actively check this box, your actions will not run. Your normal automation stuff will run. For those of you using ISN, your normal ISN stuff would run because that stuff is scheduled in ISN. Nothing changes with that. When you schedule something in Spectora, that's when you would activate actions to run instead of automations. Okay, so I would check this, and then all of my actions would be put into the queue, or at least the ones that are caused by scheduling, and that's how you activate for an action. Cool. All right, that was kind of the, oh, I guess the one thing to mention, I'm just going to say the one thing over and over again. The one is not a thing. Is that there was a lot of demand feature request wise for a way to look at the scheduling email before it goes out to make sure it's correct. In this case, to do that, you would set up an action track of send an email 10 minutes after I schedule with this body. And then in that 10 minutes, you'd be able to go look at the email in the queue and go look at it. So actually I'm gonna trigger it and I'll show you what it looks like. Actually, let's just use our office address in the inspection details area. Okay, nice. See. That's all of my previous inspections that are at this address, and because I use it constantly, I have a bajillion. Yes, that is a technical number. Okay, so now I activated it. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna go to my inspection. I may be being too eager because it does take a couple minutes to process. Oh, that's actually a great point in this demo because I just almost freaked myself out too. So when you schedule actions, emails take a couple minutes to get created. The actions take a couple minutes to get created. So if you just scheduled and you want to go look at stuff, it may take a minute or two to get them in here. We created this. If it was just created, then it might take up to 10 minutes to generate. 10 is generous. It's usually like 2. Just refresh the page until you see them. Okay, so now you can see if it's actions powered, otherwise it's automations powered, and you can see all of the when they're going to send. And so if you wanted to make sure that the email was going to look correct, that scheduling, I would like to look at it, you'd be able to click in here and it will open the actions manager and show you that exact track, and you can edit it. So you can always, instead of having to go to automations and then the queue and edit, you can just go to your inspection and see all of the queued emails and text messages and edit there. That's a better way to say it. Okay, kind of got to mediumly move it along. That is the kind of basics of actions, my support articles, and I'll make an actual good demo. You guys are my beta demo people too. Here in probably the upcoming weeks. If we hit settings now, we're going to go back to advanced tools. Nope, I'm a liar again. We're gonna do contact tagging because that's important to the actions. When you have Spectora Advanced Tools enabled, if you go to your contacts now, you'll see that you have this extra little dealio over here called tags. And you can open it up and you can create tags. I normally see a demand for these based off of new agent where you would want follow-up emails to run to them, or VIP agent for please don't send them emails, they don't need them. And so that you would be able to create a track for if agent has tag VIP, no follow-ups, something like that, or only one follow-up. To create a new tag, you just type in here. You can create or add a new color. Let's do orange for this one, add a new tag. And now I have a VIP tag. So now when I go to contacts, I can sort through them and say, I would like to click this pencil icon and I would like to add the VIP tag to Kevin because he's really cool. Case sensitive. There's a bug we need to fix. Cool. So now Kevin's a VIP. Any VIP tracks are going to run through him. So to add a tag, you would add the tag there, create the tag, type it in, add it to each contact. Little bit labor intensive, but yeah, just once, I guess. Cool, now we tagged them. Go back to settings, and we're going to go to advanced tools again. And now, okay, we're gonna do pay splits. Let's enable pay splits and set it up. Like I was saying kind of in the overview, currently pay splits is per service or per inspector. This overall default is going to set the cuts to begin with. So it's whatever your pay splits are going to default to being if you add a new service or something like that. So if we were to change this to $40, all of these cuts just move to $40. So for the sake of this, we're gonna say 50. A pre-split deduction is going to be something like I outsource my scheduling to someone else currently. I take that off the top of the inspection. So take off $10 from every inspection and then do the percentage afterwards. So please, pre-split deduction is what you take off the top and then calculate it from. For all of these, you can choose whether or not to have a percent or a flat fee. The overall is going to work with both of these below, either per service or per inspector. And so kind of think of it as two different per service, per inspector. Those are your two options. So you can choose for here which percentage or flat fee you would like for each of those, and you can change them out. Or on per inspector, I can open it up and say, I'm the best. I would like to get 80%. However, oops, I clicked twice. There we go. Okay. I'm the best. I get 80% on all residential. Take off that $10 for overhead costs. And then if I scroll down here, I can say Joe, my sub-inspector, who that's one of the puppies in our office, and he's actually on our About page as our chief nap officer. So it's a very serious position. He does have a tie, yes. Anyway, so for Joe over here, it's not the puppy's name, it's Potato. You can say he is not the best. I would only like him to get 30% of the cut. And then for like radon, I also would like to add a $20 on the top deduction because I have to pay for the equipment and the servicing. And so you can add those pre-split deductions and choose between me or Joe Potato for each one. Then if you get through here and you're like, crap, I meant to do it for me instead of for Joe, you can always click or revert to default, and the numbers will revert back to whatever you have as your overall default. Now, if we scroll up here to then view the pay report, you can hit pay report here, and it's going to generate a field where you can do the payout amounts. And so whether or not you pay biweekly, weekly, monthly, you can see for your payroll purposes. We don't currently have payroll integrated, but we have payout reports. And you can say, okay, for me, for this date range, I did 4 inspections. One of them's named Butt, classy. Could you tell I was trying to replicate a bug or not? Anyway, so this payout amount is going to be this much, and this is how we got there. Cool. And you can just show it, or you can export it to an Excel file. Great for QuickBooks too. Okay, so that's basics of pay splits. If we go to settings, I think somebody just scored a goal again. Go to advanced tools, open it up. Okay. Next thing we're going to go through is service limitations. So if we enable them, this is where I'm qualified to do some things, but my sub-inspector is not qualified to do other things. So if I set up service and click there, it's going to pipe me over to availability that you can also access in settings. While that's loading. And you'll see that when you're choosing between setting up everybody's schedules and open scheduling versus time slots, now you have these services buttons. So say I can do everything. So let's click these services and say, I'm available to be scheduled for residential with all of these add-ons. So I can do everything. And then hit save. However, Joe, my sub-inspector, if I click his services button, he can do residential, but he's not qualified to do sewer scope or radon, so he can only do one with 3 bedrooms. He can give a military discount. Since he can't do sewer scope, I'm not going to do my residential plus best value package one, but he could do residential with he can't do radon, he can't do plain radon. So now if someone goes to schedule and I am already booked for an inspection, they would not see availability that Joe could get booked for if they added the things that he can't do. One of the other things that this per service adds is I'm actually going to deactivate some of my own ones so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I don't think I'm going to get an alert right now. Okay, save. Is having these per service limitations, it's also going to create an alert if you get scheduled for something and you're doing it manually, or your office staff is. See, I didn't trigger anything, but there should be alerts over here if I were to try to schedule myself for something that I couldn't do. It would say, for this address, currently Joe is scheduled, but Joe can't perform sewer and you scheduled for sewer. Would you like to change to Casey? And there's going to be alerts over here in this unconfirmed area to show that. It's in one of the support articles for the visuals. Sorry about not triggering anything. There's no bug, just haven't done that. One of the dogs just smooshed his snoot right on the door. This is the most random demo ever. Okay, so now let's go to advanced and go down here. Okay, so that's for service limitations. For service areas, we're going to enable service area and we're going to set up boundaries. And per service or per inspector, you can draw areas where they can be scheduled. So if someone goes to put in an address where it's not in my location and I'm the only inspector who's available, they won't see availability. So now we're back to this availability area and service area. And let's say that Joe, my sub-inspector, can only perform inspections on half the city. So we're going to zoom in to Denver and go down here. And then I'm going to say draw service area. And Joe can only, and you click and click to continue. And it's going to create this service area until you click back to the first point. And now Joe can only be scheduled for inspections in that area. You can also edit service areas and click and drag them afterward. You can remove it. You can clear them out completely if you went a little bit too crazy and set up all the boundaries. Stop editing, or you can draw new service areas of like, also he's in Greeley on the weekends. No one wants to go to Greeley. And so he can also be scheduled for there. And so that's how you would do your service areas. Okay, click off. You did great. That one's kind of self-explanatory. That only took a minute. Okay, more going to settings, advanced tools, getting really good at that muscle memory. Open up, please. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. There we go. Okay. Inspection events, good for things like water testing samples. Radon is probably the most used one. When you enable inspection events, now on the inspection details page and during scheduling, if we go to dashboard, and then we go to schedule an inspection, and we open it up. Under services, you're now going to see this inspection events. And when you create an event named radon pickup, get that stuff, please. That's now going to show up on the inspector that I assign it to, and you can choose who to assign it to, and when they should do it. And that's going to appear both on their normal calendar now and for on their apps for the day. So the apps now show inspection events. So when we schedule that, on the actual scheduled inspections for the Logan Street one that we already did, scroll down and click into this guy, you will also now have a box where you are able to add inspection events down here. So if we were to add that radon, get it, girl, and add that and save it, come on, little guy. I can then go in, and if that got rescheduled, I can click these three dots and then edit it or delete it. And so you kind of have more play with your calendar now. Okay, a question just popped up, and I'm gonna go look at it because that's kind of the end of inspection events. One of the really cool things about this is how intuitive it is. Besides actions, which I fumble over, and the first like 4 times that I did pay splits, it's pretty intuitive. You schedule an inspection event, it now shows up in inspection details, it's gonna show up on your app, you're done. Cool. It was more of a comment of feeling great about it. I love that. All right, scroll up. Now we can go back to settings. You'd think it was a Friday for how weird I'm being. Nope, just Tuesday. All right, if we go to advanced tools and open it up, finally, we have advanced metrics. If you click and enable advanced metrics, your metrics tab is now going to be replaced by a different metrics tab that's going to lead to advanced metrics. You can always turn advanced metrics off and get the basics back, but enable advanced metrics and we can head over there. It's going to pull all of your current metrics, and for ISN, maybe transfers, we have importers to bring over your ISN inspection data and contacts and things like that, so that your metrics are going to stay up to date. This is your default metrics dashboard. You can create multiple dashboards, each with different, these are called panels. For the default, it starts off with inspections by month that you can view and compare years. Great if you're growing. You can also, if you click these options on the legends, it's going to deactivate them so you can kind of tweak what you're seeing. These are also drop-down menus of I would like to see this by week instead, or by month. Revenue. There is a known bug that we are fixing where the numbers don't 100% match up. It's already been reported. We got it covered. Where like the number of inspections will be off because I think this inspections is including canceled inspections on accident. And so look at the pretty things and we'll fix it. Scrolling down, what I was saying with deactivating options here is important. Like if you would like to get a better view of your pie chart over here, you can deactivate residential and then see what percentage easier in the pie chart radon versus military discount is, or hovering over things like this. Okay, so now the scary part. Oh, last 365 days, you can do all time. For the year to date, quarter to date, month to date, previous 90 days, 30 days, great. Okay, now here's the scary one because there's so many options. Okay, do I already have a dashboard created? No. All right, we're gonna hit this plus sign. We're gonna create a new dashboard. And this is gonna create a new page, essentially. And it's going to be Casey Spring, this works. Casey Pray, this works. Can't even spell it. All right, save dashboard. So now that we have this other dashboard that I can access with this dropdown, my created dashboards versus Spectora's dashboards, I can, I didn't delete there, hit this plus sign and add a new panel. So now this is where I'm pulling the brand new metric from. And I'm going to name this numbers are fun. Data source. This is where I get anxiety. All right, so this is where you're going to be looking at metrics. Charge is the combination of services and add-ons. We couldn't come up with really a better word for that. So you can, charge is going to be the combination of both service and service add-ons. You can also create dashboard panels for just services, your major ones, or just the service add-ons to pull metrics. So for, in this case, I'm going to pull from the inspectors on my company. You can then choose which chart type you would like. Area, bar, bar over time, horizontal, line, pie, polar area, all these crazy things. If we go bar over time, how are we going to calculate it? I would like to look at my inspector's total revenue. And then I'm going to sort it by, if you wanted to see how many inspections this inspector has done in a specific zip code, you can. This is why I get intimidated in a fun way about this. And I'm going to sort these inspector metrics by inspector. You can also choose multiple if you feel like being crazy. You can choose sizing based off of if you would like a really, really long one or a normal size one, sorting, all that good stuff. We're gonna save panel. I have now created, and it worked, our praying worked, guys, of a panel that is now going to show me inspectors by year done. And you can see how many crazy users I've had on my test account. And so this is a comparison of in April 2018, I did this, and then that's what I did in, yeah, cool. Comparison of April's. Sweet. So you can kind of do all sorts of crazy stuff with metrics. Tyler and Mike have really good help articles on this if you need other stuff. If you click these 3 other dots, you can also export that data to a spreadsheet. That's been a long-standing feature request, is being able to export metrics based off of time ranges. And so you would create a panel here of, I would like to see the inspections done of the last month per by inspector by service, and just export that data. You can also refresh it, delete, all that good stuff. Okay, that's metrics. Let me see what's in my chat. Cool. My chat friends, I'm trying not to use names because I'm going to put this up on YouTube. friends, all the friends, pointed out a known bug again. When you enable Spectora Advanced right now, it's going to accidentally reset your navigation buttons up here. So if you enable it, because it's because we added actions and metrics is a little bit different, it's switched and reverts to where you originally had them when you signed up for Spectora, these navigation buttons up here, to resort. If you are like, I don't need contacts in there, I can just use the drop-down menu and my name for that, and I would like to have the new inspection button up here, not templates, whatever. You go to settings and then scroll down, and in your user settings, you can look at navigation and you can drag what you would like and what you would not like and re-drag those. So, yep, friends, unfortunately, I mean, it's a tiny little weird thing. I'm sure I just discovered that this morning. And so, new thing, just resort your buttons. Not the end of the world, but still a little weird, and we'll fix it. Cool. Okay. Sweet. What else are we gonna do? We did advanced, we did pay splits, we did discount codes has been out for a while. So it's not technically a part of Spectora Advanced, but it is in beta right now, so I might as well kind of cover it. You can create discount codes based off of a percent, an amount, choose what it is. These codes right here are case sensitive. I would highly recommend choosing either a 1 or 2 word, all capital letters code. I have seen many people attempt to use discounts and type in something like military / police / fire, which I love you guys giving discounts for that. However, in order to get this code to work, you have to exactly type in military / fire / whatever, which means most of the time, if you just type in fire, you're not going to get the correct code. It's case sensitive. It needs to be exactly like that. So I would recommend 1 or 2 words. Thank you, all capital letters, new coupon, something like that. The description would be client facing. It's what's gonna show on the invoice. Notes are what's going to show in your internal area of, hey, this guy is military, great. Applies to services, and you can choose for it to apply only to residential inspections that are scheduled, or hey, for the month of July, I'm offering 50% off radon tests to military members, and you can set that up in here. And you can set up a max use. I only want to pay for this 10 times, or use the code 10 times, or an expiration date of on July 31st, cut it off, can't use it anymore. And so you would set that up in there. You can also see which ones have been expired or delete them, collapse them. There was some confusion originally about these codes up here, about clicking the new coupon deal and not thinking that this title was editable. You would just edit it down here. Editable. Cool. Sweet. Okay, we did discount codes. We've done advanced. I'm trying to think of anything that I missed. Availability, team. We did all the advanced tools. Support articles, they're great. You can choose to turn all of these on and play with them. Disable all advanced tools are if you would like to take away enabling it at all anymore. So hitting that red button is going to mean that if you would like to turn it back on, tech support has to do it for you. And so that's going to say take advanced out of my settings for now, something like that. Okay, that's kind of a basic overview. I love it. It's going to be very exciting and terrifying on the tech support chat bubble for my trying to figure out where things sit right now. This is completely new muscle memory for me, Alexis, Mike, Kevin. And so please, if you are writing in about advanced tools or using them, let them know, or let us know that you're using advanced. It'll just make things go a little bit faster to be like, hey, I'm using advanced or I'm in actions versus automations. Help me on this for troubleshooting. But I think it's very user-friendly myself. And that I'm not just saying that because I was part of the product development meetings to make it. We are open to feedback on a lot of things. We are going to weigh all feedback about beta. And so unfortunately, if you don't like something, we are going to weigh it against other beta users. But we're going to try to collect all the data. We have huge development boards about keeping track of all these things. We really do try to listen to you guys. And so if you guys find a bug in this, I highly recommend using Cloud app, like a Rain Cloud app. It is what I use for tech support for doing really quick video recordings, screenshots with annotations. It's so fast on the desktop. I absolutely love it. Kevin prefers something called Skitch. It's like Skitch. So Cloud app or Skitch, and type it in tech support and we'll tell you about those screen share things. It is hugely helpful to us if you guys can take screenshots or videos of reproducing the bug, or tell us how to reproduce it ourselves. I do tech support in the mornings, and then my afternoons are tracking down bugs and recreating and being the point between our development and our support. And so having that ability to really see what you guys are doing and not just kind of like guessing is really helpful to me. Please and thank you. Okay, I'm going to, I think, open it up to questions. I really thought this was going to take longer, particularly since just doing actions took me like 30, 40 minutes. So I guess that's a plus about Spectora Advanced, is you can kind of get the basics pretty easily. Okay, I'm going to open up the chat. Jump on the chat. You're only chatting to me right now, by the way. You guys can't see each other. We had some people get embarrassed on my intro webinars that I do about asking questions if other people could see them. Shy little flowers. Hopefully when people are transferring, how are you politically dancing right now? When people want to switch over to this from ISN or Next Inspector, like whatever you're using right now, I am dedicating a lot of time to training, and I often do screen share trainings to help people learn it, train up all their office staff, things like that. I know a lot of barriers to moving softwares or moving back-end scheduling office stuff is the training and getting used to it and stuff like that. And we're all really prepared here to help you guys ease that transition as much as possible. So if you would like a one-on-one training, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but I can try to sit down and, set aside a couple minutes in training to help you guys learn your specific actions. And I can teach you guys how to create the action tracks of what exactly you're after. Hopefully it is intuitive enough that it kind of helps. Okay, cool. Tweets. Currently, okay, here's a question on the chat. When is there an introductory webinar, or would you recommend I take a look at your YouTube videos? Oh, for the intro stuff, yeah, I guess this was a pretty intimidating webinar to start on, actually. All of my previous introductory webinars, I did 2 hours just on every single button that you could possibly push in the mobile app. Template editing was another 2-hour full webinar, but I also do have a huge amount of YouTube training videos where you can learn the basics of editing your template in what's called a new user setup series. We have the links saved on tech support. Just type in and say, hey, what are the links to the intro videos? And jump on that YouTube channel to do it. Yeah. So I'm planning on doing an intro webinar or something along the lines of this, maybe another beta talk more about actions once I'm better at speaking about things. In 2 weeks, we try to do it every 2 weeks, usually on a Tuesday or a Friday. They're almost always this 2 to 4 time slot Mountain Time, just because that's when my afternoons are available. But I do post them on YouTube afterward completely. Cool. You're very welcome. Okay, the chats that are coming in right now. Side question, is there talk of adding the calendar to the mobile app? Yes and no. It has been talked about. The functionality in the code and the caching of the calendar between different scheduling options in there would require pinging the server and pinging back and forth between web and app more than it currently does. Certainly not a no for the future, but currently one of the best perks about the app is that you don't need internet to edit. And so it would be complex to add the recaching of the app or recaching of the calendar every time you do something scheduling on the web. And how do you know, how to go back and forth? Like when will the app know to reping and ask for the new cache of information on there? So it's kind of a complicated one. We are about to release the new mobile app into beta. Tyler spent a huge amount of time while working on this, and the other developers are also working on a ton of development projects, working on making the mobile app a lot more memory efficient. And so you're not going to have to worry about things like deleting reports so often, or templates, or things like that. Yeah, the mobile for Android and iOS. So updating all of the plugins that we have in there to make those more memory efficient. So there's not a lot visually changing or features changing in the app, but it's going to work so much better on the back end of things. And so look for that here if you would like to be a double beta tester. Look for that app here coming out here, I'm going to say within a week or less. We're just trying to do a lot of internal QA for it because all these plugins, it was a lot of code changes. Or code updates really. So yep, beta on there. Cool. I'm trying to think of other fun stuff that we have coming out. I think that, Advanced and the new mobile app that's updated and more efficient. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So currently, don't even start with me, Apple versus Android people, but Android is better memory efficient with storing data and RAM processing and how many background jobs you can have going at the back end than Apple is. So a lot of the issues that we have been having with Apple iPhone X's, things like that, and white screens, those will hopefully be way in the past with these new updates of memory efficiency. So all that good stuff. Okay, if nobody kind of has little questions, I did see a couple people asking on this chat for me to enable Advanced in their accounts. I'm gonna keep the chat open and I will do that right after we get off here. So if you asked me on the chat to enable it in your account, look for it in a couple minutes. But I think if nobody has any other questions, that went way better than I thought it was gonna. And I will process this video and post it up in the Facebook user group beta channel for people to watch and laugh at. It's gonna be great. Everybody is pretty, sure. We got one more question. Question about email templates. Type it in, you got me. Because if you probably have that question, other people are going to do this. Oh, cool, sweet. Thanks to other friends who just talked to me about things. Sweet. Oh, you're very welcome. Sometimes I wish you guys could see what each other are saying because I bet this is a really weird conversation to be having, but, okay. Okay, user who's talking to me about email templates right now, jump on the text support chat bubble for that answer. This other user is asking that they missed the very first of the video. What's the cost to demo it? There isn't. Oh, that's a great question. We are keeping this free for a very long time. We know that you guys are helping us beta test this, and we thank you for it. There is no cost for demoing this. We want you guys to play around and get comfortable with it. As I kind of said about the pricing questions and angst at the beginning of the video, how we are going to price this additional services or group it into different levels depending on which actions you're using or which tools you're using. It's a pretty big, wide open debate right now. We don't have anything set on, and we're going to take user feedback, but we are going to, there's a lot of overhead and there's hundreds of development hours that went into this. So it is going to come at an additional cost eventually. We just got to figure out what's the best for our inspectors while also covering our costs. So we'll figure that out. How does the demo work? Are you saying it's free until further notice? Yes, sir. Since you were actually my intro question, to clarify, we have 5 free trial published inspections that you can use without any holds bar on the software. You could even beta test Spectora Advanced if you wanted while you're getting used to it. And so, yeah, you can absolutely beta test advanced tools during your free trial. Type into the text support chat bubble. I'm talking about this little bubble down here, by the way, in the bottom right-hand corner. We take a ton of pride in our tech support. We have an under 1 minute average response time during business hours and cover all US time zones. And a lot of times we jump on tech support after, and we've got weekends and all sorts of stuff. So cool. People sass me on here. I just had a user on the chat ask to add me to beta, but unfortunately I can't see your last name. So user who just asked me to add you to beta, give me your last name. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I can add you afterward. Sweet. Okay, does anybody have any other advanced questions? Or if they are more detailed, jump on the tech support chat bubble. I'll jump on here right afterward. And Alexis is on there right now. Like I said, I'm going to export this video, do a little bit of editing, and then throw it in the beta channel if you missed part of it or just want to rewatch my fumbling and laugh comically at me. It'll be great. Okay. I always enjoy doing these things, even though I can't actually talk to you because I feel like I'm getting to know you guys better, which is strange. But, you know, it's pretty great. You're very welcome. Yeah, talk to me soon on the chat bubble. We'll answer all sorts of questions. Read the help articles. People who ask me to enable, look for that here in a couple minutes. All right, stopping my rambling now. Lovely seeing you guys. Hopefully you loved it. Okay, bye.